So, how many? Did you have a lot of friends in Iraq?
Oh yeah, I had a good time now. Smashing. It was whoopee all the way along. There weren't many women around, that was the trouble. But otherwise, it was all right. I went in the embassy, birds. I was a bachelor then, you see.
So, tell us an anecdote from Iraq, an interesting story. What about that time when you were crossing a road and you saw something very creepy in the sky, and it was just you got out, and you said you could see something in the sky. What was that? You were driving along some desert somewhere, and something creepy happened. You were driving along some road.
I don't think it was me, I think it was somebody else.
Oh.
But I don't think it was me. I was scared when I was driving from Jordan to Iraq, to Baghdad. And there were parts, you drive through a desert, there's nothing. These big black rocks, and it's flat and level, and it was night time. And I suddenly had the urge to do a wee-wee. And I stopped and got out of the car and wee-weed at the side. That was creepy. I couldn't wait to get back and start moving again. I thought, my God, if I broke down now, it was a new car. It was just a momentary thing, but it felt as though there was something there, you know. No, that was a friend of mine who was driving through that desert with another bloke, and they saw a big mushroom cloud, like an atom bomb, and they thought, more. No cloud. They thought, both of them thought they saw it. Very strange that. Never explained. The desert does funny things to you, they say. You can imagine all sorts of things. But I tell you, those black rocks sticking out of the bloody sand, you know. Ugh, it's horrible. It was a horrible, horrible place. This little tiny road, what had happened is that they built a pipeline from Kirkuk through Israel to Haifa, and they called it the Haifa pipeline. When they're building a pipeline, the contractor has to build a little road to get his vehicles along. You can't drive on sand, so he made a temporary road, and that was the route. That was traffic. All the traffic had to go along this road, me included. It was just there. And the pipeline was no longer used because it went through Israel, so they had to make another one to go through Lebanon. And that's why that road was there at all. And I had to drive from Lebanon through Syria and Jordan to get to Iraq. It was about 700-mile journey. And I had to do it all in one go. Couldn't stop. And I did it.
How long did it take?
I don't remember. I know I rang up the meteorologist office, and they said the pass, the mountains come right down to Beirut, and the mountains go right up, and you have to get over the mountains. So I rang up to see if it was February, to see if the pass was open, and they said yes, the pass is open. What they bastards didn't tell me was that it was thick fog. I drove up there, I got in a line of traffic, I couldn't stop, I couldn't turn around on the windy road going up to the mountain. God, scared out of my wits, it just got dark. I drove through the night into Syria, and then I got to the border of where it was Jordan, Syria, Jordan. I got out of the car because I was nearly out of petrol. That time, about, I don't know, it must have been about 11 o'clock or midnight. Nobody around. Little shambles, little house. Bang, 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 bang on the top. You see, this whole thing came out. I said, petrol, you know. And he came out. He served me with petrol. You could do that at the beginning. But you know, arrogance. He gave me the petrol, and I gave him bakshish. And then that's when the real graft started mile to mile through the following day. Yeah, that's it. So from what, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I drove through the night and all the way through the day, and I arrived back in Baghdad at 6 o'clock the following day. So I've been driving solidly for 26 hours. This very dodgy road. Then I did stop once, yes, but I couldn't rest. It was too filthy. Unbelievably smelly. It smelled of goats. It's what they call a rest house. Gave me a cup of tea. So I went back on the journey again, and I got back to Baghdad at about 6 o'clock, had a shower, cleaned myself up and went to the club. Had a smashing meal because I hadn't eaten all that time. And then I played snooker and I went to bed at 12 o'clock. The following day, I was very tired, man. I was a doggone tired. It was good experience, but I shouldn't have done it on my own.
What did you see in these places? What did you see?
I didn't see anything apart from deserts and so on. I gave lifts to anybody in a uniform because if I get into any difficulty, they're always useful to have around.
Yeah.
But I got
You were back in Jordan in the 70s because there's pictures of you by Petra in the 70s.
I went to Petra, yeah.
Yeah, so you must have gone back to Jordan after you'd driven.
I went to Jordan in 1917. You know, I'm not sure. It was about 1979. Yes, it was 1979. I was on leave in Spain, and they rang me up from Gibbon, wanted me to go out there because everything had gone pear-shaped, and they wanted me to go out and straighten it out. So I refused, but then they had their ways and means of making me, and so they made me go. And that's when I went back there, and I got quite chummy with the contractor, who I think was gay. He didn't have any chances with me. He had a driver that he and the driver had a funny relationship. But I in those days, you didn't know much about it. I suspect the relationship was odd. You know, he was the boss of a Korean of a big job. He put in a whole town. An important guy. But he was very lonely. And I had a building inspector called Harry Hill, English one, and he used to say, he said, I am a philosopher, I am not a builder. I knew that. So you don't have to tell me that. And he said, I like to think and talk. He used to take me out in his Mercedes, me and Harry Hill. And he with his driver, always had his driver like a chauffeur, this big Mercedes car. You know, he'd say, where do you want to go? And I said, all right, I'll go to Petra. They took me to Petra. Then we went down to Eliat, which is, well, it wasn't called Eliat. There's this town, the Gulf of Aqaba, and this town is right there on the point where this gulf comes far, like that. And It's one town, but it's split down the middle. The Israelis have one half and the Jordanians have the other. They get on all right. And there was a nice hotel there, and we'd go down and have a good meal and feed the ducks or, seagulls. So, yes, I saw Petra. I wanted to go to Baalbek, but I never got that. We drive sometimes in Morton, we go to Amman or something like that. But I didn't have a vehicle, you see, and then I only had a truck, which didn't work properly, and he had this big Mercedes, so yes, I took advantage of his kind offer.
Yeah, there's some pictures of you, Korean.
That's it, Korean chap,
Yeah.
His driver was a very pretty fellow.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't absolutely a man, He was quite a good driver. I mean, he had nothing wrong with that. But by God, we went through some horrible places in a desert, and the wind blows and the just dust. It never stops. You see these tamarisk trees; they grow like that. The wind is blowing all the time. It's just grit in the atmosphere. He had air conditioning in his car, so it was all right. Had the windows closed and so he could breathe, but otherwise, just dust.